What's up, expats and fans around the world tuning in to our league's fantasy football competition? We have a lot to go over in this week's fantasy football recap. Unfortunately, we need to issue some fines. And lastly, we need to go over the playoff picture. I was super busy at work today, but still managed to come up with a bunch of possible outcomes following the results of this weekend. Who knew we had so many mediocre teams sitting at 500, or one game under, or one game over? Not my team, of course, because I was able to once again beat the red, white, and green team of the South. Alrighty, so my team officially is the sole owner of the OCE South Division lead. Number one. Possibly, in the future, the number one seed. But we'll get into that later. Pretty much this past weekend, my team jumped out to a huge lead. Thanks to Thursday night, all my Cowboys players. Thank you. CeeDee Lamb, special shout out. My kicker, Aubrey, doing good. Antonio, rough shape going into this weekend. Must win for him to have a shot. And a bit of a prayer. Moving on, next up was Smackers versus Brees Lightning. And I tell you, Frankie somehow defies the odds, breaking his 5-week losing streak and beating Smackers. Not only that, but he took the top honor for most points scored this past week, earning himself 15 fab, which he promptly spent during the waiver period on Adonai Mitchell. So good luck with that pickup. Overspent, I feel, but hey, Jet player, Anyways, Onyx Mammoths finally win a close one after losing what seems like at least 4 games this year by a point, 2 points or less. They finally beat Off to Your Mom by less than a point, earning the victory, but not much else. Not much else. Unfortunately for Jack, Stephon Diggs does diddly squat in the Monday night matchup game. He literally was down by like 6 points, and Stephon Diggs scored like 4. So unfortunate for him, but again, Jack's number 1 regular season title hangs in the balance this weekend, and I'll explain why. Old Smoky Bastards continues their improbable run towards a potential playoff berth. Chris beats Mike in another close matchup with the help of its best player, the Denver Broncos defense. Finally, the South Park Cows beat Team Barrett. They get over the hump, finally, with a positive win-loss ratio for the first time all season. That concludes our winners and losers recap. Moving on to fines and administrative items, Antonio of Team Joe Ever is being fined 2 fab for his borderline racist, xenophobic, and downright ignorant comments about a certain white tight end who plays for the Raiders. Just has no place in our league, Antonio. It's just, come on now. That fine, as well as his last fine from last week, can be appealed via video, of which that, Joe Evers' front office has still not responded to. So I don't know if I gotta hablar en español, pero no puedo. Let's see what else we got here. We also had a situation. Listen, I gotta explain this. We did have a situation play out this past weekend where an active player was kept on the IR. All right? You all know, Frankie mostly, but you all have an idea how the injured reserve spots work. A player is put on the injured reserve. You're then able to move them from your bench to the injured reserve list, opening up a bench spot so that you don't have to drop anybody. Well, let me be clear. That player in question was originally on the IR list. He was never an active player, and placed on the IR list. He was inactive and then activated this past weekend. So, yeah. Now, some apps, when that happens, they will immediately kick that player to the bench, resulting in too many bench spots being taken. Regardless, the result is the same. That team is unable to make lineup changes and or make waiver pickups. So what occurred was not technically illegal, as was instigated by some and believed by others. It was simply a shortcoming of the situation, a situation that will be addressed by me, the commish, short term right now, and will be addressed long term by a vote to happen during the off season. Now, due to the clear oversight by the person, this time it being Puzio of Two Girlies, One Cup, and because of there being no obvious malicious intent to circumvent the rules and integrity of the league, there will be no punishment administered this time. Going forward, should there be a player on IR who is deemed active, I will attempt to remedy the situation by contacting the owner prior to that day's games to let them know to make the appropriate changes. Now, if I am unable to get in contact with that owner and they do not update their lineup, then I will have to make a commissioner move, and that player on IR that is deemed active, thus ineligible to be on the IR, will be dropped to waivers. Just want to get that, so there's no confusion about any further future problems. Again, that had no outcome on the, result of the game. Chris still won his matchup. Puzio, had not attempted to do anything bad. So it is now a learning experience for everybody. And y'all can stop crying in the comments. Now, moving on to our playoff picture. All right. I was super busy at work today, so I just had to run and draw up and get all these different weeks and wins and matchups and head-to-heads going. But pretty much starting from the top. All right. The only ones who have technically secured a playoff spot is me, Ian, and Jack. Now, if Jack loses and I win, I have the ownership of the head-to-head matchup against Jack. So we would both have the best records. I would have the head-to-head. I would move to the first seed. He would move to the second seed. If Ian wins, and even if Jack loses, Ian still can't, get that first seed because he got crushed in the head-to-head. And there's both times crushed. So Jack, again, is going to be the first seed. And if I lose and Johnny wins, Johnny could move up to that first seed. Like I said, the top four is kind of, right in there. But again, we've made playoffs. So moving on down the line. Let's say that every single underdog wins this weekend. Frankie wins. Antonio wins. Chris wins. Chris has the tiebreaker on every single person at 6-7, a possible 7-7. If Colin wins, actually, he goes to 8-6. He definitely gets a spot. And if everyone else wins, Chris gets that last spot, that number 6 seed. So it would effectively be Jack, Ian, Colin, and Chris in the north, me and Johnny in the south. realistically, Antonio is going to be out unless everybody loses. He does not have a head-to-head matchup win against anybody. So that's kind of unfortunate, Antonio. I mean, technically you have a win against Colin, but you've lost against everybody else. So let me see. Oh, I got it over here. Yeah, because again, you went 1-1 with Frank, but again, you lose on the points for. Frankie beat Colin. Frankie's beat Johnny 2-0. So if Johnny loses, Frankie wins. Frankie would take Johnny's spot in that situation. But again, realistically, it has to play out with all the different wins and losses. Because again, Colin wins, he goes to 8 wins, he's in guaranteed. Johnny wins, he goes to 8 wins, he's in guaranteed. Colin would go to 7-7. Again, if Chris wins, Chris could knock him out. Frankie wins, well, Frankie beat Colin in the head-to-head as well, so he knocks Colin out as well. Again, these are all playoff implications. Specifically, if you want to know what needs to happen for your specific team, just reach out, direct message me, let me know. But otherwise, it is tight. It is preferably must win for everybody. And it is must win and a prayer for Antonio. Puzio and Corky, you suck. Sorry. Better luck next year. Thank you for your donation. If there was a donation, because there's still not IRS. We're just playing for fun, as I said in another video. That's all I got. My kids over there wanting to see me. So that's all I got. Any other questions, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Help the algorithm. Like and subscribe. Peace.